Do you think in 6 to 8 months, when seller credits come down, or when, do you think in 6 to 8 months, when interest rates come down, will seller credits still be readily available?
Yeah. That's a good question.
That's a poll question. If you do not follow us on social media, please do us a favor. On YouTube, go ahead and bang that red subscribe button and turn on the notifications. We appreciate everyone that follows us. If you subscribe to this channel and you comment with your Instagram handle in the comment section of this video, you have a shot to win a $100 Amazon gift card that we are giving away on January 31st. So please be sure to bang that red subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Also, if you don't follow us on social media, we are NBI Financial Group on all of it. That is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, YouTube, TikTok. I'm the Czar of Mortgage personally. This is
Big Boss Ben.
Big Boss Ben. Hey, what else are we going to talk about? One of the things I wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on yet is build for rent. Yes. And single family rentals.
Yes.
So there was an article on Housing Wire the other day. Build for rent, single family rentals. Places like J.P. Morgan Chase are getting involved. You got BlackRock, multi-billion-dollar companies. There was a couple other multi-billion-dollar companies. Another company raised $1 billion to get involved in this. Lennar Homes, a $1 billion corporation, also raised money and is partnering with a couple of real estate firms to get more into the single family rental build for rent. And one of the things that they're doing is they're targeting millennials. Yep. Right. And then they're going after, and they're putting in amenities like like weight rooms, workout areas, swimming pools, like stuff that apartment buildings would have, because the quote unquote millennials are used to this, and we want to provide a place like they like for them to raise their family. Right. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's very interesting. And I mentioned earlier about builders and things like that, giving more incentives. And I think this is one of them, because they used to have requirements on how many could be non-owner occupied. Right. They are lowering that number. You mentioned Lennar specifically was in that. But a lot of builders are doing that because it is going to be such a big market, because a lot of people are seeing the advantages of that.
Of what?
Of
you say
rentals,
of that?
Of buying rentals, building rentals.
A lot of people are seeing that as far as the $1 billion corporation. You think that's a good thing?
No, not necessarily that they're doing it, but like the fact that the builders are doing it, because the builders aren't necessarily going to rent it out themselves. They're going to sell it. There's people.
They're selling it to Blackstone, J.P. Morgan Chase, multi-billion-dollar investment companies.
They're selling to everyday people too, though, right?
They've set aside 38,000 units to sell to billion-dollar corporations.
That's concerning. I was thinking that a lot of people were selling it to actually people that were investing.
No.
Smaller investment companies to.
Nope.
Because I think that's a great thing.
Lennar's doing it. Lennar partnered with a real estate firm to have their own single family rental and build for rent communities. Okay. Like they're building huge communities just to rent out. That doesn't concern you?
That does concern me.
Have you ever seen that World Economic Forum?
I'd seen a few articles on that, but it did not mention that. And I knew that Blackstone was doing. I mean, Blackstone's bought up half of Arizona by now.
I saw. Right, Blackstone pretty much owns Arizona.
They do. Like
they're making it so that you. This is that World Economic Forum thing where all the conspiracy theorists where they say you will own nothing, and a lot of people say, well, that's not really what they said. Well, that is literally what the commercial said, right? And Klaus Schwab himself did not say that. But what it said was you will own nothing. When you want something, you will rent it, and it will be delivered by drone. It was like their picture of the future. Here's the issue I have is the World Economic Forum and people like that, they're so out of touch with everyday working class Americans that they have no clue what we want. And homeownership is something that every working class. That is the American dream. Home ownership is the American dream, and it's how we get ahead in this nation. Plain and simple, right? And what's happening is when Blackstone's buying Arizona, when BlackRock is buying Arizona, basically all the houses in Arizona and Seattle, Washington, they did this as well. And then you have JP Morgan Chase getting involved. You have Lennar raising $1 billion, partnering with other billion-dollar real estate firms. And what they're doing is they're not selling it to you to rent out to somebody else, which that is what it is. Some people have to rent based on what their circumstances.
Right.
What they're doing is they're doing what the World Economic Forum said in that commercial, you will own nothing. Corporations are now going to own everything. So all the money is going to be transferred to the top, right?
Right.
So if you're a multi-billionaire and you want to siphon money, you go after the working class people and you make it very hard for them to own a home. And what will happen is that $22 a month, multiply that by 38,000 families are now paying you $2,200 a month in rent and getting nothing for it. There's no equity built. There's no appreciation that's going to them. The big multi-billion-dollar company is getting their equity and is getting the appreciation on that property. Meanwhile, they're targeting millennials, and especially millennials with a family. It is not good, millennials, if you are just renting. And then you see this other thing, and this was a Grant Cardone thing. Grant Cardone said you are stupid if you buy a house prior to being a millionaire because it's taking X amount of dollars. Well, you're losing that money anyways by renting. And what the argument is you're paying more for a home than you would if you were renting. I call bullshit. Guess who else is starting to buy up a bunch of houses and dilapidated properties, rehabbing them, and then renting them out to you, the working class people. Guess who's doing it? Grant fucking Cardone. It's just a big ass scam by people with clout who have a lot of money to take money out of your pocket and flow it to the top, flow it to the billionaires. Is it smart? Hell yeah, it's smart. It's what we preach on a smaller scale, a comprehensive real estate plan. But ours is to help people build wealth through 6 to 12 units, where theirs is let's buy up everything and take the wealth from everybody in this country.
What other six-figure investment can you get into that is amortized over 30 years?
You can't.
There isn't one. That is why housing is the investment that will.
How do you stop it
for the everyday man? Like, and the fact that someone says something like that is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, the Cardone thing?
Yeah, that you have to have $1 million in the bank to buy a home.
What really pisses me off is that you have BlackRock, you have JP Morgan Chase, you have these other places going and buying up all these properties and then renting them to you. And how they're buying the properties, they aren't buying them at fair market value. That's a fucking problem too.
Right.
They're not buying them at fair market value. What they're doing is they're overbidding by 25 to 50% on the property. I was talking to my brother-in-law about how hard it was for him to buy his first home.
Yeah.
Every home that he went to buy outbid by 50%. And some of those homes were bought by corporations. Dude, like, you can't do this because of the way our economy is set up. And I don't know if you'd want to do this, but how do you stop that from happening? How do you stop BlackRock from buying 38,000 units? 38,000 houses. How do you stop it?
I mean, you can't.
You literally cannot stop it. Dude, we're talking about just, that's a lot of housing, right? And then we have an inventory issue, and then those companies are just looking at it as a bottom line. So some of those units might actually be sitting empty, but it's a portfolio to them. So they're making money on the portfolio, and they aren't maybe necessarily trying to get them rented out as quickly as possible.
It's a depreciation write-off for them.
Right. 100%, like 100%. And so what do we do to battle back against it? I mean, you have to educate people.
Exactly. First and foremost.
But at the same time, if you can't find a house to buy and you have a wife, you have a kid, maybe a second kid on the way, and you can't find a house to buy, but there's this really nice house over. This just happened to a friend. Couldn't buy a house, couldn't find a house to buy. We're in a hot market.
Yeah.
Is now renting a home for $2,200 a month, 3,000 square foot home. Dude, that's typically a house that would be for sale. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it just happened to a friend of mine and my wife's, and I'm happy that they got a nice home to live in, but part of it makes me sad knowing they'll never gain the appreciation over the next 12 months, and that's something you'll never get back. And to buy that same size home, it's going to be, people are saying 3% appreciation. Bullshit. It's going to be closer to 7 to 8% by December of 20.
Right.
Here's something that you can mark down, whether I'm right or wrong on. It'll be 7 to 8% by December of 2023. Appreciation over a 12-month period.
From beginning of the year to the end of the year?
Right. In our area, in Charlotte and North and South Carolina. So, yeah, it's just, it's something that scares me. It reminded me of the World Economic Forum when they put out that commercial, you'll own nothing, you'll be happy, you'll rent anything you need, it'll be delivered to you by drone. And then the question is, well, what if you don't return it on time? Does the drone shoot you? So,
yeah.
Oh, shoot.